Hi everybody, today I'll be talking about depression and why it happens and why we shouldn't feel ashamed of it as much as we do. This first video will just be about the vocabulary, and I know vocabulary can sometimes be boring, but it's an important foundation in understanding why sometimes we feel hopeless. The first word, and let me just say this before we're getting started, some of these words I will probably butcher so hard that you guys are gonna be like, what is this? What is she talking about? And I hope not to make a fool of myself, and I hope that we could understand what I'm talking about. So the first word that is important to know, or the first neurotransmitter that is important to know, is acetylcholine, and this is what enhances your memory, or when you recall stuff. So if you're missing this, it's kind of like when you are like, what's that called? What's that called? It's because that neurotransmitter isn't doing its job. That neurotransmitter is lacking, is not there. It's also when you can't remember something. This neurotransmitter is not there. So you can see how this can cause anxiety and depression when you're constantly feeling like you can't remember something or you can't recall. The second neurotransmitter that we need to know about is serotonin. This is what helps you regulate your sleep, your appetite, your mood. For sleep, for example, if you know you haven't been able to sleep in a couple of days, or you've been studying, or you've been up doing homework a couple of days in a row, and you start feeling tired, you're not sleeping, you're not all of this, you know eventually you start feeling hopeless, you start feeling anxious, you aren't okay. And so when this neurotransmitter is missing, it just makes you feel horrible. And I think out of all of the neurotransmitters, this is, if you're lacking serotonin, this is the worst, because in my case, it makes me feel the most hopeless. It just brings me down. There's a study that low levels of serotonin byproducts have been linked to suicide risks. So this is mind blowing, because if you aren't having enough sleep, if you're not having enough food, or you're having too much food, and if your mood is all over the place, this could lead up to suicide. You could end up taking your life because this neurotransmitter isn't doing its job. Something that we as humans, as full grown organisms, have no control over. This is straight up just a function your body should be able to do, like this, and it's not doing it. That's why I can't stress this out enough. Sometimes it's not our fault. Even if we want to be happy, even if we want to go to sleep, even if we want to have appetite, even if we want to be happy, sometimes our bodies, our brains just isn't doing it. The third neurotransmitter is neuropinephrine. Neuropinephrine. And this has to do with your blood vessels, and raising your blood pressure. This triggers anxiety, because this is what motivates you. This is what helps you. This determines motivation and reward. So if you are lacking this, you aren't feeling motivated to do something. And we all know what happens when we aren't motivated to do something. We just don't care. And when you don't care, it's easier not to care, not to care, not to care. And eventually, like, everything is kind of like pointless. And obviously, another side of depression, things being pointless. And if you see no reward in doing something, and it's like, why am I gonna do it? A fourth important neurotransmitter is dopamine, and this one is particularly interesting, because this also has to do with like the reward system, and this is because of movement. This is what kind of helps you move. Well, not kind of. It what helps you move. And obviously, if you're like, yes, let's go, let's do this, then you're moving. Obviously you have motivation. Obviously, you've had sleep. You've had all of this other stuff. And if you don't have dopamine, you're just kind of like not moving. You're kind of just there. Kind of reminds me of like not sleep. Like, I'm sorry, not like sleeping the whole time. Like, just you don't care about anything else. This could also lead to like hallucinations and delusions because of like your neurotransmitter is making you see things that aren't there. And this is when substance abuse becomes an issue, because if your brain starts liking that feeling, it, drugs and alcohol are more likely to give you that um to give you that high or that experience, so you start doing them just to get that high or that experience. So yeah, those are 4 of the many neurotransmitters that there are. And the reason I stuck to these 4 words because I feel like these are the most attention grabbing. Of course, all neurotransmitters are very important, but I felt like these were 4 that are probably the most important in for someone who is starting to learn about depression and anxiety. In the next video, like I said before, I'll be talking about why it's not our fault even more. So really quick also before going on to the next video, the information I found was from Harvard Health Publishing, Harvard Medical School. But I will have the actual link, the actual website down in the description below. So if you want to learn more, about the other type of neurotransmitters, you are more than welcome to. And I'll have that down below so you guys could just click on it and keep reading the article. Thank you.